Welcome back to the Bold Business Podcast and our series on the Midheaven and the Cosmic Leadership Archetypes that you have in your chart. Okay, so today we're going to be diving into the sign of Cancer. So if you have your Midheaven, otherwise known as your MC in your astrology as Cancer, then this is for you. Or if you know someone who has, or if you just want to learn more about what the heck the Midheaven is all about, this episode is for you. I'm doing this series going through my 12 cosmic leadership archetypes in order to showcase, to share, to shine a light on what this Midheaven is all about. I can't wait to get into it. Today is going to be a juicy conversation about the power, the gifts, the blind spots, and ultimately the magnetism of Cancer. Let's get into it. So the Midheaven, right? As we go through this series, as we go through all 12 signs of the zodiac to understand all the 12 archetypes of your Midheaven, we keep coming back again and again to the concept of magnetism, right? And that's what your Midheaven is all about. It's about being magnetic, your most magnetic self when it comes to your work and how you are of service in the world. There are lots of parts of your chart that are just about the internal or about the private or the intimate sides of your life. But when it comes to your work, your career, your reputation, and what other people out in the world want to receive from you, it's got to be about the Midheaven. That is the vibe. That is what this is about. So we have to look at this particular point when we are working on being more visible, when we are ready to embrace what our work is, when we are ready to fully step up, to shine a light on why we're here, our purpose, and how we are of service. So if you're working on a personal brand, a founder brand, if you just want to put your best foot forward, if you're working on how do you present yourself in a book, on stage, on a podcast, you name it, you want to be putting your best foot forward with your Midheaven archetype. I developed these archetypes back in 2020. These are, a way of making astrology more accessible for anyone out there that wants to learn how to truly know, love, and be themselves. So without much further ado, let's talk about the Cancer Midheaven. Okay, so for those of you who are watching this, I do have a couple of visuals because I am a visual girl. But don't worry, for those of you listening, you do not need the visual. It's just like a list of the terms. It shows you the sign. And then I have some celebrity examples that I'm going to share with you at the end. Okay, so Cancer Midheaven in my system of archetypes is what I call the Gatherer. Okay, you've heard of hunters and gatherers. This is the Gatherer. And there's so many different terms I could use here. The nurturer, the family-oriented person. Like there's so many different kind of ways, but the Gatherer is Cancerian energy elevated. This is Cancer energy, but in a leadership position. This is not the same expression as Cancer Moon, Cancer Sun, Cancer Mercury. It's Cancer Midheaven. So this is you as a leader in your space. And so if you have Cancer MC or Cancer Midheaven, then this is you. So the Gatherer is the type of leader that makes everyone feel at home, that makes you feel like you belong. When you work with this person, there's this sense of safety, this sense of home, this sense of security on an emotional level. There's a real depth to this because, of course, Cancer is a water sign. So there's a heart connection, a depth. When you work with these people, you just know that you're going to be taken care of and that they are also going to be fierce protectors of your found family. Cancer Midheavens are the kings, queens, and royals of found family. They are the ones, and this is one of my favorite tropes. You guys know I love my K-dramas and my fantasy romance novels and all the things. Like found family, if you tell me that something has found family in it, I'm in, okay? Found family is like that sense of like we weren't born of the same blood, but we will ride or die for each other. And that is what Cancer Midheaven loves to work in a team where you are dedicated to each other, where there's this sense of like connection, depth, intimacy, love between you, even when it's at work, right? And I know that people say, and I agree, it's like a joke sometimes when people say, oh no, if you're in the interview and, they tell you, oh, here at this company, we're like a family, like, run. And so I do agree with that to a certain extent. And if the CEO of that company is a Cancer midheaven, and if they are non-toxic, if they also understand boundaries when it comes to work, right? This Cancer midheaven is an incredible creator and gatherer of community. So we can replace the word family with the word community, because there is this emotional connection that Cancerian midheaven leaders are just so good at delivering. So here's a few traits of Cancer midheaven. So empathic, for sure. They will have their natural empaths. They have this ability to feel what other people are feeling, to sense the room. They can walk in and be like, something's off. Something's off. What is it? I can feel it. I can sense it. It's not logical, but I know, right? They're empathic. They can also feel, and that's a beautiful thing, because God knows in the corporate world, I think we could use some more empaths, some people who actually care about other people and how they feel, right? So that Cancer midheaven is very good at that. They're very intuitive. So they just know things, right? It's that sense of that spidey sense of like, I feel things, I know things. Today is a good day for this. This is not the right opportunity. This is not the right partnership. Like, they just know, right? And it's a spiritual thing. It's not a logic thing. It's not a facts thing. It's a spiritual thing. Cancer midheaven leaders have it. And when they trust their intuition, they lead with it. It's incredible. You'll have incredible results. Very protective. And this is something that a lot of people, I think, forget about Cancer midheavens, is that Cancer is a cardinal sign. It is the crab, right? You got those pincers, fiercely protective. You're not going to be a creator of family and community if you're not protective, right? Because or else it's just like, why are we all here? So protective. Cancer midheavens are some of the most protective people I've ever seen. And the celebrity examples, you're going to die. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. They value community building. So that is team building, community building. This is a core of their work. It might, in fact, be their work. And so if you're a Cancer midheaven, consider that. If you have your own business, this is a podcast for entrepreneurs and bold business makers and bold business owners. You need to have a community, because that's what you're gifted in creating. So of course you want to lean into your zone of genius. You want to lean into what it is that you're very, very good at, right? So community building, think about how you can do that in a way that's sustainable and aligned for you. Your blind spot. Okay, so Cancer midheaven blind spots. I know everyone's going to feel like I'm totally calling them out for these things. Number one, passive aggressiveness, and number two, resentfulness. These two things like go hand in hand, right? Passive aggressiveness and resentfulness. So as a leader, you do have to be careful, because you're so deeply heart-centered and emotionally invested in the community that you have built. And you care so deeply, and you feel what other people feel. This is something that all empaths have to work through, is passive aggressiveness and people pleasing, because we feel when we let people down, disappoint them, when people are upset with us, right? And you have to figure out your way of being a leader with integrity, boundaries, and healthy relationships without the people pleasing, without being passive aggressive. There are things, times, and places when you just got to be clear. You have to say no, and you can't beat around the bush about things, right? And so the Cancer midheaven leader, this can be a bit of a blind spot, and it's something, we all have stuff we got to work on. This is something to work on. Resentfulness as well, because Cancer as a sign, same as all the water signs, okay? Pisces and Scorpio, you're not getting away from this either. You are so connected to people on a deep level. And so when things don't work out, there can be a sense of resentment that builds subconsciously, right? When someone isn't loyal to the family or betrays you in some way, or whatever you perceive that happened, right? The resentfulness can get in the way of your leadership. And so that is something to look out for as well. Okay, so empathic, intuitive, protective, community builder. This is the gatherer. Gatherers are incredibly powerful because this is what we all want. Like, this is why this is a huge driver of the human experience, is to connect. It's not to get rich, it's to connect with other people, right? That is the ultimate driver of the human experience. And so Cancerians know how to do that. So use it wisely. Okay, so let's go over a couple of celebrity examples. So we have number one. Well, one thing I want to say is, if you're looking at this, you see these three examples, you're like, whoa, these people, all three of these celebrities are, I would say, people who absolutely demonstrate the Cancerian value of protection and protectiveness towards their communities. And I chose these examples because I want to show you a different side of Cancer, because I think people forget this. Like, people think that Cancer is like, only soft and nurturing. And Cancer is that, but it's not only that, especially when you have Cancer in the midheaven. Cancer in the midheaven is very fierce, very protective. You mess with my people, you get the claws, okay? That is, I think, what these three celebrities really represent. Okay, so we have Kendrick Lamar, Leah Remini, and Raven-Symoné. So let's start off with Kendrick Lamar. So Kendrick Lamar, Grammy award-winning rapper and recording artist and producer, Pulitzer Prize winner as well. He, famously was the halftime show of Super Bowl 2025. Incredible performance. Very polarizing, his work, right? Because it's not for everyone. And that's one thing I really want you guys to remember about Cancerian leaders. Just because they are good at creating community and family and they're protective and people feel like they belong, not everyone belongs, right? There are people who are not in the family, right? People who are not in the community. And as Kendrick said, they're not like us, right? So I feel that his career, his style, his way of delivering his message, his poetry is so Cancerian if you really think about it and if you really look at it. It's about protecting and nurturing and nourishing his community, the Black community, right? And it's like, hey, we got to take care of each other, right? Super Cancerian, super fierce and protective. Then we have Leah Remini. Leah Remini, famous for her acting career, of course, but also in recent years, her documentaries exposing the cult of Scientology. So Scientology, her most recent documentary is called Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath. This is where I really came across her work. Was I think it was the original series was, maybe it's not hers, produced by her, but Going Clear. Do you guys remember that? But I remember watching that way back in the day and learning about Scientology and all of the internal machinations of this. And especially, she focused a lot on how it tears apart families, right? And how it is toxic for the community to be a part of this cult. And so it's really, I absolutely see the Cancerian midheaven in Leah Remini, especially when it comes to her activism work, and helping people readjust, leaving Scientology, coming back into the world, and just exposing the truth for what it is and how families are very damaged by this, right? So it's very Cancerian, right? Fascinating stuff, right? And interesting. So then we have, last but not least, Raven-Symoné. So Raven-Symoné is an incredible, multi-talented singer, actress. She came onto all of our screens through That's So Raven show and the Cheetah Girls, right? And so she was a child actress, NAACP award winner, and so very, very well known. And she's had an incredible evolution in her life. around her identity and how she is comfortable being visible in the world and being herself. And it's a really empowering story as well. Now she has a podcast called Tea Time with her and her partner, and it is fantastic. And I love seeing clips of their podcast come up all the time. But one thing that I notice is that most of the clips, maybe it's my algorithm as a queer woman, but most of the clips that are served to me are Raven, really creating a place of safety, belonging, and communication within the queer community. And I'm so grateful, and I'm sure so many other people are really grateful for those kind of spaces where it's like we feel safe to talk about stuff. We feel safe to be ourselves. We feel safe to be seen. We feel safe to express ourselves and also make fun of each other as well, right? And so love all of that, right? And so Raven, I think, has gone from being such an incredibly talented child star to also being an advocate, right? An advocate, a voice, an influencer. I see a lot of the Cancerian, fierce, protective, community building energy in her and in what she's been able to create in her life so far. Like with all of these artists, I'm so fascinated by their journey and by what they're going to create in the future. But one thing is for certain, there's going to be a strong sense of community, empathy, and protectiveness in everything that they do. So what do you think? Are you curious to learn more about the other archetypes? There is so much to learn here. Each of us has one fame point, one midheaven, and one cosmic leadership archetype, which is our brand. This is what the world wants from us. This is what is truly magnetic about us. This is what we need to be putting forward primarily in our work, in our career, in what we do, which is of service to the world. Next time on this podcast, we're going to be going over Leo Midheaven. We've already done Aries. We've already done Taurus and Gemini. So stay tuned for more. Make sure you subscribe and like the podcast, whatever platform that you're on, so you don't miss anything. And also grab my free ebook. So I have a free ebook on the archetypes so that you can learn about your own. There's like a one-pager on each one and a way to learn how to start and how to find it in your chart as well if you're newer to astrology. Plus, you can go deeper in my Midheaven Magnetism course. Of course, I have a course as well because this is such important stuff. I need you guys to know how to use this in your marketing, in your sales, in your branding, and your content. It's powerful. So stay tuned for more, and I'll see you around.